2 days after Eke Market Day, a piercing scream pierced through the stillness of Umuzala's village. The spine-chilling strike forced a few fearless villagers to rush to the scene of the sound. The villagers were shocked at the sight of Nneka on her knees, crying in grief as her swollen belly trembled with every sob. Before her was Mazi Okeke's lifeless body, her husband lying awkwardly among the numerous ridges of fresh yam mods, his eyes and mouth wide open. Suddenly, silence fell among the villagers as the grey-bearded Ezemo, the king of the dead, emerged from the depth of the thick forest. Clad in his typical black and ochre robes, he arrived at the scene, carrying his bone-crowned staff, flanked by his 2 prodigies, garbed in crimson and bronze, their countenances etched with ritual paint. With bated breath, the villagers instinctively stepped back as they watched the king of the dead process the scene with a contemplative look. He crouched before the corpse, his eyes focused intently on Mazi Okeke's lifeless body. He turned to Nneka, his voice barely a whisper, no signs of struggle. The earth speaks no lies. Return home, my daughter. The gods have shown me the truth. He turned to his prodigies. Start digging. The earth holds a secret that points to the horror that transpired here. As his prodigies went to work, vigorously digging the earth, he turned round and uttered with an ominous cadence, "Inhabitants of Umuzala, return to your homes, as I trudge through the bushes and seek the truth." As it disappeared into the shadowed horizon of the verdant terrain, 2 women supported Nneka as she stumbled away, weeping. The sun had receded deep into the gently mountain peaks of Umuzala, ushering the grey ooze of dusk across the sparsely populated village. At this time, the palace owned. A palpable sense of tension hung in the air as several villagers thronged the royal court, awaiting the outcome of Ezemo's consultation with the gods. The Igwe sat majestically on his lofty throne, encircled by the council of elders. Among the numerous persons that were at the royal court was Mazi Okeke's household, made up of Ngozi and Hada, his older wives, tight-lipped and haughty. Okonkwo and his 4 brothers, all sons with stern faces and folded arms. The 2 daughters flanked Nneka, who was seated, whimpering and trembling. Ezemo emerged, his staff airily echoing up the cobblestone floor. Silence immediately fell over the royal court. Ezemo scanned the sea of heads that had their eyes fixed on him. He began, "I have spoken with the earth and listened to the air, and I have walked with the spirit of Mazi Okeke. Now I will unravel the truth." He cleared his throat, his expression unreadable. Mazi Okeke did not die as a result of an ailment or by chance. Mazi Okeke was killed, and he died at the hands of someone he trusted. Murmurs swept across the court instantly. He cast an expressionless glance towards Ngozi and Hada. "You quarreled with Mazi Okeke, your husband, the night before his death, but your hands are clean." The 2 women exchanged weary glances at each other. He then turned his sights to Okonkwo. "You are his first son. Your anger is well known around the village. You threatened your father in public a week to his death, but on the day of his demise, you were seen in the market. You are not the killer." Whispers again flickered across the airy court. Ezemo's staff tapped the ground with a sinister echo. "The killer is not among his household, but the killer is one who sits in this council." Another round of whispers erupted. Ezemo turned to the elders, who exchanged suspicious glances at each other. "One of you sold the farmland to Mazi Okeke. That same person was loved Nneka and sought her hand, and that was the root of Mazi Okeke's murder." Gasps erupted. All eyes darted. After the land was sold, Mazi Okeke began wooing, and he won. He took her. He quickly impregnated her, knowing an enemy lurked in the shadows, pretending to be his friend. Ezemo paused momentarily, his eyes scanning the old and grizzled council of elders. And while this happened, Mazi Okeke's killer bond with Man Evi. He began pacing, his staff tapping the floor and sending cold shivers down the spine of the villagers present at the royal court. The Igwe listened, a sense of alarm etched on his face. On the day of the murder, the killer and his wife were working on his own farm nearby. He claimed to be pressed and pretended to head to a secluded area to relieve himself, but he crept into Mazi Okeke's farm, which shared a boundary with ease, carrying a hoe He greeted Maazi, who saluted him, suspecting nothing. Ezemo's bros furrowed, and there, while forming his ridges, the killer viciously delivered a deadly blow to Okeke's skull. He cleaned his hand with morning dew and made his way back to his wife, saying he had excreted. Another round of murmuring followed. Ezemo's prodigies stepped forward. Their clothes soiled, and faces creased with copious beads of sweat as one of them raised a long rusted hoe, its head charged with soil still firmly visible on the blade. Ezemo extended his hand, the weapon buried by the killer. He turned to the Igwe, who sold the farmland to Okeke, whose farmland borders that of Okeke, who was Nneka's former lover. Ezemo faced the oldest man in the council, Maazi Chika Ude, who sat to the Igwe's right. He contrived a grief-stricken countenance as his lips trembled. Ezemo said with a note of finality, "You killed him." Maazi Chika rose shakily. "Yes, I did." The murmurs intensified. "Your jealousy burned hotter than any fiery furnace," Ezemo added. "You could not bear to see your ex-lover move on with her life. You concealed your envy beneath smiles, but the earth was your witness, the wind your accuser." The Igwe rose slowly. His authoritative voice boomed across the court. "Maazi Chika, do you have anything to say?" The old man faltered. His hands trembled and instantly crumbled to his knees as tears welled from his eyes. I didn't mean to. I only wanted to warn him, but he mocked me. He laughed and scoffed at me. Then I lost myself." The silence that ensued was colder than night. Ezemo raised his staff. "The dead are now satisfied." The Igwe signaled his 10-faced guard, "Take him away. Umuzala Kweno." The response was resounding. "Yeah!" As Maazi Chika whisked away, the villagers exited the royal court, shocked and confounded. Nneka buried her face in her hands, her shoulders shaking, and Ezemo, the king of the dead, disappeared into the twilight he came.